Is it true that you took today off work just to come on the podcast?
It's an interesting question, though. Have you had Minecraft dreams yet? And if so, do you see the other people as actual people, or like the world as an actual world, or is it kind of blocky? Now, I understand that that's not always the case. There's somebody that speaks very highly of me and found me through MCC Rising, but
Who was that?
it's you.
Oh, it's me.
I can't believe you missed that.
That was a low ball.
No, that was a joke. Alright lads, welcome back to MidweekMC, the part of the podcast where I sit down with the amazing co-host, who's actually here this week, AJX!
I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming.
It's fine. The last 2 weeks you've missed both have valuable or warranted reasons even. So I'm not judging. I'm not going to make a joke about it. I'm not going to say anything. Both have warranted reasons, AJX. It's completely fine, okay?
Yeah, sure. This is not what you said beforehand.
I didn't say anything beforehand.
What's happened?
Why are you making out like I'm a horrible person?
What's happened? What's happened?
Podcast, AJX. How have you been these last 2 weeks, considering we haven't got to talk to you?
Yes, I had a lovely Valentine's Day. I'm doing a lot of projects at the moment, and it's all fun.
AJX only lets me talk to him on the podcast. It's really sad.
Yeah. Apart from the fact we just talked for an hour before this, but okay.
I mean, it was more like 40 minutes, but that's fine. It's okay.
It was 50 minutes exactly.
No, actually no, because I didn't show up at 40. I showed up at 46 because I was walking my dog.
You see, Orbitzz shows up late to his own podcast recordings.
What I'm saying, everyone. Having a quick I had to delay our guest, who is sitting here patiently waiting to be announced. Who we joined with?
the very best guest, Ayrington.
Heyo, welcome to Midweek MC, and I'm just gonna immediately start vying for Ajax spot.
Oh my! What?
What?
What? No,
you know what? You can have it.
What do you mean
no,
I can have it? I'm sorry. I get Ajax. I get it. You get started on another podcast. You know, you start working with that, and then all of a sudden you don't want to be on MidweekMC anymore.
I can't have a podcast.
No,
anyway,
no, I'm cutting that out. I'm cutting out what
such a prestigious start.
This is a great start. Funny enough, this isn't going to be just us three waffling podcast. We are actually interviewing Airington today. It's just
exactly.
We are just going to be waffling in the process. It's going to be like half interview, half just kind of talking. It's going to be great.
We interview you to replace me.
Of course,
that's what it said.
So, welcome to the official interview of Airington. I brought my resume, my CV, all ready to go. I wish I had time. I really do.
So why do you feel fit for this position?
You know, honestly, I've been working on Channel 64 Chats, a podcast behind the scenes, and really testing out my voice there, as well as live streaming in general. And I think I'm ready for this.
Ooh.
Is it true? Oh, sorry, go on, AJX.
I was going to say, this is that was legitimately a good, a good advertisement.
You should be worried.
I'm sold.
Honestly, I'd let you two host. I'd just leave, I think.
Oh,
you can replace.
You know what? It probably would do better.
It would do way better because Orbitzz has fallen off, sadly. So
yeah, unfortunately, he tries, but
I fell off ages. I fell off once I started doing command block tutorials on Bedrock Edition. I moved to Java, bang, everything. Actually, I mean, the podcast is doing decent, I'd like to say. So as much as AJX hates on it, on the podcast, he does love it behind the scenes. So
true. In all fairness, we have got on very well. In the however long we've been chatting before the podcast.
Take half an hour. Yeah, we've only just started recording. But
yes,
vibes are good. So that's always a good start.
Yes, it's lovely. It's lovely. It's just a lovely podcast. But we should probably ask our first question. I mean, it's been a couple of minutes already.
Yeah.
We should. Head into it.
Can I ask it, AJX? Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it true that you took today off work just to come on the podcast?
I took a half day. That's not quite the same thing.
It's 2 p.m. for you right now, right?
It is.
Yes, well, 2:30 now, but like I said earlier, though, we've been planning this since not planning, but we've been talking since October, since about CubeCon, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's how we met pre-CubeCon. Well, you and I at least.
So I mean, I've been waiting for the scheduling. I mean, it's here. I couldn't miss it.
Actually, no, that's kind of partially a lie on my end. Because we interacted at CubeCon, myself and because that was the 6th to the 8th of October. No, actually no, yeah, we did talk because I added you as a friend on the 10th of October. Wait, so was MCC Rising was before CubeCon?
No, yes. Yeah,
Was it?
MCC Rising was definitely
Oh,
before
before,
because we
sorry.
had it as
Yeah.
part of our CubeCon booth.
Oh yeah, because I added you on the final day of CubeCon on the 8th of October. We talked because I saw your booth and
Right.
stuff, and I thought it was really, really cool. And then I think the Channel 64 SMP account interacted with the podcast because we had a Nay from CubeCon on the podcast or something like that. So
Right.
but yeah, before we ask more questions, we do always like to give the intro for you to introduce yourself. Obviously, we're off to a really good start here, showing that we have good vibes and stuff. So it's a more chilled, laid back podcast, which is nice. I needed it. I'm pretty tired today. You put me on the most quietest floor. That's really bad wording. Why have I worded like that?
How are you more tired on the most quietest floor?
Because there's nothing to do. So I'm doing an 8-hour shift because I'm doing overtime,
okay.
serving no customers for the final 4 hours of my shift. I'm just standing there, not even looking pretty. I'm just looking. And
Don't you love the tease of like, you could be sleeping right now, but also you can't?
Well, I could be at home editing the podcast, cutting out all the but yeah, who are you? What do you do? A fun fact, maybe. Why are you on the podcast today, essentially?
Oh,
So-
perfect. So my name's Ayrington. I am a YouTube content creator for the game of Minecraft. I've been doing it for about 3 years now. And fun fact, I change my skin nearly every episode, and I don't think it's ever been mentioned in a comment, unless I pointed it out to somebody, and then they mentioned.
How big is the change?
Completely different skin. The only thing that stays the same is my face. The branding.
The branding is the face.
This
That's
face. A little tough to hair. That's my brand.
So do you just wipe it from Name MC then? Because on Name MC you have barely any skin changes.
I need to wipe it again. I don't. Here, hot take. I don't like a Name MC.
Ooh.
I put a lot of time into my skins for every episode, so the fact that they're just kind of out there for anybody to take my likeness is, I mean, it is what it is. It's the game. You're always going to be able to have the skin that somebody's currently wearing, but I don't know. It feels icky to me.
When I first started playing Java Edition, I refused to wear my skin with the mask. I only had it on Bedrock Edition because I wasn't mainly a Java creator. I was still Bedrock. I was just playing a bit of Java. But I refused to use it because I didn't want anybody having the skin. And then I realized later on, I was like, yeah, actually, I don't really mind having the skin. But I understand in your sense that you're constantly making new designs and it's easy to kind of just nab it from Name MC.
Yeah, I mean, as a content creator, there's definitely uses where that's really useful, especially with collaborating with other content creators. I've gotten to the point where I'll grab other members from Channel 64 skins because it's easier to grab that than to send a DM. But at the same time, I don't know. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it, but I don't love it.
Yeah, that's fair. And then what's the fun fact then? Is that the fun fact? Have you got another one? I feel like that's a fun fact in a sense.
I thought that was a good fun fact.
I get it. My fun fact's not good enough.
No, but you're just so cool that I want to hear like another one from you. I don't normally
That
get
is
the
awesome.
opportunity to have another fun fact, but I'm giving you
Another fun fact.
Middle name.
Middle name? Yeah, I'll run with that. The non-canon the head canon last name of Aerington is Aerington Jones. Mainly because early in my season I did a Indiana Jones skin, and so it was Aerington Jones, and it stuck. I loved it. I've always loved that idea that the last name is Jones, which has been cemented a little more as there is a kind of background character that I voice in Channel 64 called Old Bones Jones.
Oh my god.
That might be some kind of weird time traveling version of myself, but
Oh, I was going to say, is it a father figure?
no, it's definitely me. Just after years have eaten away at the remaining brain cells.
I'm very excited to hear about that.
mainly just wandered. So last season on Channel 64, we found out about this awesome mod called Tatersons that allows you to have NPCs, and you can add voice lines in there. And basically, it's just a character, a non-player character that just walks around. And so I voiced the lines for this character that I'd had in my episodes. And he just walks around going, "I'm Old Bones Jones. Have you seen my goat Jasper?" And that's
the guy from Gravity Falls.
basically, yep. Very akin to the Gravity Falls character.
Old Man McGuinness. Oh, is it McGuinness? McGucket.
McGucket. Wow.
Oh my God.
What a great reference.
I never watched Gravity Falls. I just remember seeing like a clip of like the old guy screaming and shouting.
Well,
So.
it was a good podcast while it lasted, but that's unacceptable.
No, Gravity Falls never really interested
You know,
me. No.
it's my favourite show ever.
It is definitely one of the best animated shows, period.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's a
nice.
bad show. I just never really was interested in it. There's a difference. There's a difference
Mistakes were
between thinking
made.
it's bad and not being interested.
Uh,
I don't know. It still just seems gross.
kind of.
Okay.
Kinda.
Ouch.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I agree.
You guys can enjoy your silly
In
Gravity
the
Falls
comment
show.
section below, you gotta make Orbitzz watch Gravity Falls comment section. Come on.
Nobody
have you
proceeds to
tried?
comment. I mean, you know, if you guys
I
want to
think
comment, go ahead.
hell yeah. I think it's worth going into it. Do you want to explain Channel 64? Because I mean, it's cool as hell.
Are we gonna jump into it so soon, though, AJX? Because as far as
I mean, we've already talked about it.
You know what? Yeah, fair enough. That's fair.
That's all I'm thinking.
Listen, I'll take the opportunity. Like I said, honestly, if you let me talk, everything will route back to Channel 64 anyways. It's my proudest accomplishment, I'm the proud papa at this point. Do you want me to just go into it, or do we need to redo that bit at all?
No.
Perfect.
I think what we can do here is just waffle away about Channel 64 SMP, talk as long as you want about it, and then we'll ask questions.
Perfect. So Channel 64 is a Minecraft SMP. It's a content creator SMP that was created back in the first episodes released in May of 2021. The concept and like origin was way further back of like December 2020. That sounds like a long distance because it was.
Yeah, I was just thinking like 2021 that's almost 3 years now,
And 2020,
which is
was 8
crazy
years
to
ago.
think because it sounds like it was really close, but no, that is a long time.
Oh yeah. Well, and then that difference between conception and like first episodes, I think it was about 5 months of planning. So you're gonna learn this real quick. I am very admin minded. The reason that we came up with Channel 64, Atomic Dave and I, was because we had both been part of a server that we had issues with how it was ran, with like the expectations, the logistics, the behind the scenes. It just kind of felt like a friend server that we were there to make content on. It never felt like a community and like or that we were part of the main community. And so those are the things that we went into Channel 64 and we were like, we're gonna do this better. And so Dave, to his chagrin, had to sit there for 5 months while I wrote out documents and all this stuff. We had an excellent her name was Tardicate. She helped write a lot of the documents. She was working on her PhD at the time, and I'm really proud that I got the opportunity to work with her on these ridiculously over-engineered documents of what we expected out of the SMP, like the expectations for content, the expectations for collaboration. It all kind of boiled down to you knew what you were getting into from the start. You knew what we were hoping for, and at the end of the day, if it ever came down to it, we had that paperwork that said, hey, you agreed to be part of this project, and you're not holding up your end of the deal.
Yeah,
Remember,
I think that.
sorry, go on. AJX.
No, go ahead. I was going to say I think that's a very important to have. Pretty much was what my thing is. So go ahead.
Because I had Binish on InsideMC, it's a bit easier for me to kind of relate to Channel 64 SMP more than you, AJX, just because I've talked to another cast member essentially.
Yeah.
I remember Binish talking about like the big document and stuff, and you just like you have to go through this massive process to join us to SMP, which is mental. And it's like I'm saying that in a /pos way, by the way. It just starts off as if it's negative, like, oh, you got to do this massive process to play Minecraft. Like it's not. It boils down to more than that. It's like it's cool how not a cool person. I mean, it's cool, but I mean, what I'm trying to get is like just the way it's all done, the big process of making sure people sign the document, making sure people are fully like involved in it. It means that the SMP isn't gonna just fall off. Because I mean, hot take, it's not really a hot take. People agree with it. They probably just don't want to say it out loud, which is fine. And people make SMPs for no reason. I see so many SMPs get announced. They last about 2 days and then they go. Channel 64
Absolutely.
SMP joined Twitter on March 2021. They're in season 3. Channel 64 SMP is like a smaller Hermitcraft. And when I say smaller, I just mean it's like not got as much traction. Not that it doesn't deserve as much traction, because Channel 64 SMP is great. Yet TM, exactly. But it's the same vibe of like, it's got people on the SMP who, I think I remember seeing a tweet one time about Hermitcraft, and the reason people are like, oh, I can't believe it still does so well. It's because the creators on it are committed to it. They've gone through the low view stages. They've gone through the not much traction stages. However, they're dedicated to keep going, and now they're on season 10 and they're flourishing. That's hopefully what we'll see from Channel 64 SMP in a few years.
When they began as a community of players that just enjoyed playing together and making content, I think that's such a crucial part that is missing from a lot of small SMPs too, is they think, well, I want to play with one friend or so many friends and we'll invite anyone else on, or like that's going to carry it forward. And there's so much more to it than that. There's so much more to there's the admin, obviously, the behind the scenes of what it takes to keep a community together, keep people working together friendly. Like having those expectations and those plans and where you're going with things is so important to the longevity of such a project. And there's so many people relying on that when you're inviting them in, that you have to make sure too, the people that you're inviting are people that are going to work well together and have fun together. At the end of the day, Channel 64 is a community. It's so much more than anything I've ever could have created on my own. That it lives on. It's got its own life beyond that. I mean, sorry, I'm gonna ramble every chance you get.
No. I love it. I love your passion for it.
I mean, it's your podcast at the end of the day, right? I mean, this is why we bring you on and bring people on, is so they can talk about themselves. We're giving you a platform for us to learn more about you, and you get to teach the viewer more about yourself. And kind of in links to the SMP thing, the only way I can link to it is the podcast. I use the podcast as basically all my linking thing. And when you say like about passion and stuff like that, it's the same reason me and AJX are now sitting down to record our 26th edition together. Like, I say 26. You get what I mean, like AJX. When I know, obviously, back to the joke earlier of you not being here every episode, but we are still 26 midweek MCs, right? Whether or not you've shown up to all of them or you haven't, it doesn't matter. There's still 26, which is branded. I brand it as yours. I brand midweek MC as yours. And by brand it, I just mean you're on the thumbnail. Essentially, that's the only difference.
Yes.
But the point I'm trying to get at is like the reason
we get it. Ajax is the pretty face.
Well, I mean, the reason we're able to carry on doing this is because we're passionate enough to like talk to each other. We're passionate about the guests we bring on. I mean, me with InsideMC, and I say this all the time. Just because I haven't invited you yet, if you're listening to this, doesn't mean I don't like you or I don't want you on the podcast. But I only invite people on, or I only bring people on who I know I'm going to be able to talk to, who I know I'm going to be able to sit now editing Orbitzz version. Sitting here now being able to edit this podcast and listen to it back for like a long period of time.
Yeah, let's be real. There's so much time that goes into that editing and like cutting out the silence and the ums and the ahs and like listening to those same bits over and over again.
So many
just making content. I feel that pain.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like passion. That's why you grow. You're passionate about the people you play the SMP with. I'm passionate about the guests I bring on. I'm passionate about the co-host, or with the co-host, I guess. He's all right.
Hello.
I don't want to big him up too much. I
mean, I'm pretty amazing.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess to ask some questions on Channel 64 then.
I have one more side thing from
Never mind,
I'll
wait on my question, I guess. Fine, whatever.
Good. I'm more important.
It's your podcast.
But no, I mean, at the end of the day, though, having that passion is the most important thing. We've had these talks with members that, are going through life stuff or aren't able to make content anymore or just aren't feeling it. And the reality is, like, at the end of the day, I run things at Channel 64, or things at Channel 64 are run in such a way that it's very business formal, and it can make it kind of hard to come up to me sometimes, I think, in regards to, hey, I think I need to take a break or stop. But the reality is it's a hobby. It's something we do for fun. And if you're not having fun with your content or your project, you're not passionate about it, you're not going to make it long. The amount of time it takes YouTube to notice you or for the public to notice you, you're not going to get there if you don't care about it enough to keep working on it when you're not having fun or when it's work.
I mean, I will say there are like a few times in AJX, this, where like I struggle and I like suffer burnout. That's it's my own fault. I mean, I upload 2 podcasts a week. But sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm just like, what is this for? Why am I doing this? I'm so tired.
Oh, absolutely.
But like,
of course, and that's life. I mean, you're
passion
gonna
is
have
fine
ups
for
and
it.
downs, and
Yeah, I definitely have the same with my channel, and you know, I've had such a long break currently that it's gonna feel weird when I'm trying to get back into it, and sometimes it's like, what should I do? Is this the right decision? I think everyone in content definitely has those thoughts and feelings.
absolutely. And there's, like I said, there's that point behind it too, where it is a hobby. It is something that you need to decide, like, if you're enjoying it, if you're having fun, if it's worth your time. The reality is, a lot of us are adults, and you know, I've got kids at home, a wife. Like, I spend way too much time doing this a hobby, and I convinced her that, you know, the end goal is to get monetized, and it is.
Yeah.
I'd love to be monetized, but that's not keeping me through the hard time. The hope of monetization is not keeping me through the hard times. It's the passion of making something that I can go back, which I definitely didn't do in preparation for this, and watch almost all my content. But like going back and seeing what you've created and being proud of that. The other thing I've been talking about lately with members, or when we deal with that, where somebody's like, hey, you know, I'm not feeling this anymore, or I need to go focus on some other things on life, is we have such an opportunity in our hobby that we are creating a timeline of friendships. Like, I find it, sorry to get so sappy so quick, but like the reality that I have a timeline of my friendship with Dave for the last 3 years, or my friendship with Loki for the last, I think, about 2 years, and like can go in and watch the highlights reel of our friendship. That's so cool. Who else has that, you know?
But have you made a video
That's kind of
highlights reel
incredible
of your friendship?
So not necessarily like a highlights reel, as much as the fact that just all of the content is the best moments of our friendships, you know, the shorts, the streams, the videos, the adventures.
What video would you say has made you the most emotional, Minecraft wise?
What a awesome question. So let's see. I'd have to say, as of right now, there's a good couple top contenders, but I think right now Loki's season 2 finale. And if you're looking for mine,
your channel, yeah,
it has to be my channel.
No, you can say this one. You can say one from another channel and then one from your channel. There we go.
Fair enough. I will say Loki's season 2 finale.
That was very good.
I'll tie it back into me, because the reason that I love it so much is not only just because it's an absolutely gorgeous video, but like through lines of trying to have the story in Channel 64. Loki took it to such a next level, and like everything that I love and all those bits of our friendships and stuff, he took it and ran with it in a way that I never could have expected when I started Channel 64. You know, like the reality that it's so much more than me, than my content, than Channel 64 and the admin. Like that lore and the friendships lives on beyond me, and that's what I found absolutely beautiful about that. As for my own content, probably, that's tough.
Okay, well, it just has to be. I mean, if you can't think of one, we can rock with the Loki season 2.
Honestly, that's the better answer.
And
I don't have
really
one
emotional
of my own that's as good.
and that made you really emotional, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I definitely, there were tears. It's really good.
Are you crying right now? Is it tears right now?
No.
Are you emotional right
I was gonna ask.
I do.
It's like poking with a stick.
No, go on AJX before I go into my thing here.
I was gonna ask, is that also the one you're most proud of? It's
That's
also
fair.
the one you're most emotional. Is there one you're more proud of as well?
So this will be the opportunity to split it up then. So most proud of, it's definitely still like most proud of, like the epitome of everything Channel 64 that I ever wanted out of it. It's definitely up there. But I think on a personal level, if I had to pick out most proud, I think there was an episode in season 2 where I based it very heavily off the idea of Channel 64, where it was that TV thing, and we had the news anchors, and we had channels switching, and I had like commercials. It's where Old Bones Jones first showed up. And it was just so over edited. It took so much time, but I'm so proud of it. There's little bits like that throughout where there's so much editing and it takes so much extra time, and you're always questioning, like, is it worth this? But looking back on it, I'm so proud of all of my excessive amounts of effort. I've always been very quality over quantity, which I don't know if YouTube loves in general, but when I look back, I'm proud, and I guess that's what matters.
And you'd say that you're getting emotional over a Minecraft video.
Wait a second. Are you playing to my bingo card here?
I have been this entire time.
That is cheaty. Did you not do your research? I guess that is research. Oh darn! You got me.
I haven't even noticed that either. And I have it
brilliant.
There we go. So now you can cross off another X or get emotional. That's two in one day. Look at that. Be a guest on a podcast and get emotional on a Minecraft video.
Is that not with? Yeah, you know what? That's fair. He's stumped you there.
Yeah.
He's beaten the system. No.
Am I gonna be does this count as being emotional when we're recording the video, or do I have to watch the video though?
Well, no, because I asked you. I said, did you get emotional? And you said yes. I said, are you emotional? And you said yes. And you said, you're poking at me. I said, are you emotional? And you said, I'm emotional. So you're emotional over a Minecraft video. That's all I need, really.
Fair enough. You got me there.
For context,
can we work on buying an Elgato product now? I could use some help. Darn.
I mean, join a stream event could possibly be crossed off at one point. You know, AJX. I mean, maybe.
Oh.
Maybe a little bit of lore that you don't even know about Ayrington here, but I mean, have a Minecraft dream. I mean, you could dream about the podcast.
I could.
Full context. Oh yeah, go on. Sorry.
It's an interesting question though. Have you had Minecraft dreams yet? And if so, do you see the other people as actual people, or like the world as an actual world, or is it kind of blocky? This is a weird niche question that we discuss all the time.
No, I can answer it. When I was younger, definitely. When I'm playing the game like loads as well, even nowadays, if I'm like getting ready for a Minecraft event or tournament, I'm a lot more on it, and that means that I have a lot more dreams. But I forget my dreams pretty quickly, I should say. So I can't give you an actual like in depth, but I've definitely had Minecraft dreams.
Oh yeah, it's a weird one to think about.
Yeah, definitely. It's a strange phenomenon.
I have had Minecraft dreams. Okay, a bit of backstory here from Insane Orbitzz. Here we go. So back when I used to do command block tutorials, I used to be like heavily invested in them. They just did so well for my channel, view-wise, sub-wise, money-wise, great. What I do is sometimes I'd go to sleep and I'd dream about making the command, like the redstone command thing in my head, and then I'd wake up, and as soon as I woke up, because at the time I didn't work, I was younger, I'd go straight onto my PC and then make the command on the world. And then I made some of my like best tutorials because of dreams. I made how to make a loot crate. I made how to make like a sharpness 1000 sword, which was impossible at the time. I'm not sure it's still possible. It was a bit like but it worked. And it's like all of these came from like just me laying in bed thinking of how to do a command block tutorial, dreaming about it, and waking up the next morning and be like, it actually worked. There we go. So yeah, I have had a Minecraft dream. Yeah.
That inspiration from the cosmos.
I mean, I've had visions. I mean, I had like a dream last night about how I'm gonna do next week's MidweekMC, because I had like a dream about the intro for some reason. Just strange. I never normally do like dream about the podcast when it's the first ever time. But,
I feel like that's got to count for sure. It's Minecraft adjacent.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's you know, it can definitely be like it's definitely for me when I'm more stressed. I'll like half travel into the world of real life and what I'm stressing about. So for example, I really want to do well in a tournament, so a Minecraft tournament. So I'm dreaming about doing practice, and that's not helping anyone.
No, I feel like if I'm stressed, I just don't sleep well at all. But definitely, like you were saying earlier, when you're like so invested in Minecraft and that's all you did all day and all evening, like definitely been there, done that.
I've done that for so many games. so many games.
For a little bit of context for the listeners here, by the way, in case you're not caught up, Aerington has a bingo card. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 25. There are 25 things on the bingo card. They have already ticked off 4. By the time this podcast comes out, or maybe when this podcast comes out, they should have technically ticked off 5 at the minimum, because they got emotional over a Minecraft video. And that's one of the bingo cards. They just have a fun little bingo card that they want to do during the year, which is a little bit rigged, because like bingo cards are meant to be like, oh, the chance of it happening, but you can technically rig it and do all of it. So you could literally do it all tomorrow.
Calling me out.
Like channel 64 chats, that's easy. Just get somebody on. You know.
Oh yeah.
Do a collaborative build, like parkour. You could literally build right now while doing the podcast.
I mean, could. So credit where credit's due. This is something that Rustic Dragon and Alpin from the Autocraft SMP have been doing for a few years now. So I definitely was like, oh, I want to try that. That sounds awesome. awesome.
I'm only
And
messing
yes,
with
I
you. It
definitely,
looks funny. It looks
I
cool.
definitely I wouldn't say rigged, but I planned it as attainable, and I'm not mad because I'm finding it very like motivational right now. So it is working. It's doing its job.
Yeah, I'm only messing with you anyways. It's a cool concept. It's a cool concept, so. I'm only, was it pulling your leg? Is that the word? Is that what the old people say? Pulling your leg?
Old
Hey,
people,
look.
yeah.
What would you have on your bingo card, Orbitz?
Have AJX show up to 10 midweek MCs in a row. That's the one.
Find a new host for Midweek MC.
I mean,
Have Ayrington on the
one of the most
podcast.
like basic ones, which would be kind of me kind of shooting for the stars here, would be podcast to have like 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That's like a goal, which is probably is attainable in its own sense, but it's like unlikely as of right now, which isn't like a negative way. That's just me being positive and shooting for the stars. Another thing would be like, I mean, I'd put like guests, like certain guests I want on, like that'd be like a bingo card of like, I want this person, I want this person.
Oh, I'd be all for just a bingo card of potential guests. I mean, you could rig it for sure, but
It'd be no. Technically, no, I couldn't rig it because there's a lot of people I've reached out to and they've said like I've had like 1 or 2 people say that it's not really their thing. This was like a long time ago, like back. But then I've also had like, you know, some people that I'm trying to get in contact with and I just can't. So like you can say I can rig it, but that's kind of makes it more thing. Win a Minecraft tournament, or I mean, actually, I say win a Minecraft tournament. I'm more going down the commentary route right now, so I'm not even gonna really get the chance to do Minecraft tournaments because I mean I had the chance, but I don't want to because I want to commentate. But what about yourself, AJX? Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say Minecraft tournaments are hard.
Just a little bit. We'll talk more about that in the future, anyways.
Minecraft tournaments. Yeah, just release the video I've been trying to release.
That'd be your bingo card, just that.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm so ready for it. It's so long.
Are you caught up in editing or recording or both?
Kind of both. I'm not editing, I should say. The person who is editing is doing an amazing job. But it's just been a very, very long process. We're talking months and months and months.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Have you ever had anything like that before? I think this is a good way to go on to that.
Oh, you mean like a tournament?
No, as in a tournament, but just a video that you've got like stuck in that you've not been able to. Yeah,
I think it's a common problem. I definitely focus on quality over quantity, and so trying to balance that with real life. There's such a level of balance in what we do, and the fact that it is a hobby right now. Trust me, if I could sit here for 8 hours a day and plug away at my video, I would be getting 1 out a week at least. But with that not being the case, you know, it's trying to figure out, well, how much time do I spend here on this? And then of course there's the procrastination and like the I've got to do this and it's going to take so long, and then it takes 5 minutes and turns out that you were just procrastinating on stuff that you could have got done already. But I'm real bad at that.
A more kind of simplistic question here to kind of turn the tides a little bit is where did the name Channel 64 come from? Why is it called that?
So actually, I believe the first suggestion was from Low Res Bones. He was a member at the very start of Channel 64, him in Mellington City, or Melly. And so we wanted to go with something that wasn't a very standard like craft, this craft, that craft. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it wasn't niche enough. It wasn't clever enough for us, I guess is the better word. And so we played off the idea of a stack 64, and then the channel was TV related. We wanted to make sure that originally the idea was to have more like commercials and little side bits, and it's straight away from that as much as just in general having a through kind of storyline per season, more serial TV story wise than it is directly like we pop in commercials all the time, and not like real commercials, obviously, like very fake Minecrafty commercials selling golden carrots and things.
And then what about the name Aerington? Since we're on the topic of where did names come from, we might as well ask that as well, right?
Of course. So Airington comes from in general, as always, I overthink everything a lot, and so looking at other channels, I wanted to make sure that my channel had one name, and it was a name. So I didn't want to be like Aerington 5703 or the Amazing Aerington or like those kinds of things. I wanted one name that you can type into the search bar, and that's going to bring me up. Now, granted, I probably could have made something a little easier to spell, but just a tad bit, but I went off of, I'm a big fan of Jules Verne's works. And so I looked at a list of Jules Verne story names and kind of picked ones that I liked. And Aerington was the one that I landed on. Or I kind of blended them. I guess it wasn't specifically a Jules Verne name.
I get you. I just chose my initials, so it's at least more creative than me.
Like the E, the A-E-R, like air, like, why couldn't it be like A-I-R, like actual air? So much easier.
I know. I'm sorry.
Well, it's like aero, not like air.
See,
it's aero.
the worst part is that you just said A-I-R, and I've never spelled it that way in the tags of my videos, because normally I put misspellings in my tags just in case. Never thought of A-I-R.
Well, no,
I've always thought A-Y-R.
A-Y-R?
Yeah, I don't know. It's what I thought of.
Who's gonna search A-Y-R for Airington? Americans. AJX, am I right?
Apparently.
Am I right, AJX? Americans.
I have to go update all my tags.
You are incredibly right.
And then Channel 64 SMP is so cool. I know we're kind of jumping back and forth. I just really wanted to get the question of where your name came from, because I was really curious. We like Channel 64 SMP. It's growing so much, and you said a lot about it, like your favorite videos and stuff. But like, what is just this involving the season 2 finale here? What is just a standout moment? It can be a little thing. It can be like a little interaction. It can be a sentence or whatever. What's something that when you think Channel 64 SMP, it's just funniest memory you have?
Thinking. You're not gonna like my answer, but
I think the answer's fine.
you're looking for a specific answer, and I don't have. Honestly, I'm struggling to find a specific answer, because the reality is, like I said, it's such a community. It's a lot of the behind the scenes. It's a lot of the hanging out with friends. I hang out in the Discord almost daily. It's probably way more than we should, but Channel 64 is a community, and I love every minute that I get to spend with them. I love seeing, like, going back and seeing what we did together. I couldn't pick one specific funny moment because there's so many. I try to rotate my collabs each episode and kind of be an example within Channel 64 to make sure that I collab with everybody every season, or and kind of rotate that, so I get a little bit of interaction with everybody, and I love all of it.
I mean, the old man one seems to stand out to you a lot. Yeah, the old Bones Jones. Sorry.
There you go.
Old Bones Jones seems to like stand out as like a pretty fun memory for you.
Absolutely. And see, so there's another extension there of just like the parts of Channel 64 I like best are the parts that I couldn't have dreamed up. I couldn't have planned. They never would have, I never knew what they could have been. So Old Bones Jones, yes, is very much one of those where it was just a one-off thing for an episode that our group of friends loved so much that it took on a life of its own. The same thing, I feel very fond of Beta from the first season. Beta is a robot companion created by Dr. Disappointment, who was a friend of mine in real life, and we used as the main antagonist for season 1. And so Beta was always supposed to be just comic relief, and he turned it out to be the finale to the whole season because he took on a life of his own. As we passed this character around to be used for whatever bit we needed in our episode to forward our story and things, he really became his own person outside of anything that any one of us single-handedly could have planned. But the antagonist of last season was the administration, and so it was these yellow-eyed versions of all of us, and so we used that opportunity to then be able to you could use anybody as the bad guy, and anybody could voice them. We can use a skin and then pop in the voice later, but all of that story stemmed from a very basic, almost children's book version of the story of like, here is point A, here is point B, here is point C. Anything in between, it is what you want it to be. It is whatever you create it within the context of your episodes.
I guess like link into that then in a more specific sense. What is your kind of like impact? Like as far as I'm concerned, since you're what's the specific wording here? Because I think we talked about in the past, co-founder, right? I remember we talked about in the voice call. That's what you go by, co-founder. Like, but was it you I talked to? Did like you don't really like that word though?
Something like that. It wasn't co-founder. It was owner.
Oh, yeah,
I don't like the word owner.
We didn't like the word
Okay,
co-owner. Yeah.
Yeah,
Co-founder.
founder makes sense. That is, I mean, an owner is technically correct on some level too, but I guess that depends if you attribute the ownership to the person that owns the server, the person that's paying for it, or the person that's running it, of which I am none of. I am the person that writes the rules and regulations. And like I said, I run the meetings, and on some level, yeah, I'm the main face behind the scenes of Channel 64, but it's so much more of a community that calling myself the owner feels icky. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, you want basically to be like everyone's doing work. You don't want to get all the credit.
Absolutely. And anywhere you can split that up makes it easier across the board and makes everybody feel just as invested.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Just making sure everyone is invested. That's extremely what you want, basically, because if people aren't invested in the project, then it's going to do not as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, the last thing we want is somebody to come on to Channel 64 and make single player content. That's very very clearly stated in orientation of just like, hey, here is what we have to offer as an SMP, as a server. I'm at the point where I'm very forward with, hey, if you're looking for major growth, SMP content just isn't it. If you're looking for a community of people to grow with and grow your content, your editing, your quality, and collaboration, we've got you. That's what the things that we do amazingly at across the board. Do we have high numbers? No. No, we don't. Not yet.
But
absolutely. And
it's a process.
Of course. I'd rather grow the long way than blow up and then not get the views to match my subscribers. It just sounds rough. I'd rather have a smaller amount of dedicated fans than I would have a large amount of people that don't actually view my content.
Yeah. I think I'm the same. I definitely, from my own YouTube channel and so on, I just I wanted to make friends and make content for people that wanted to watch that content. So that's in some ways that's better. Just getting to know people, having a smaller audience is you have the real ones basically.
Absolutely.
So you
don't
feel
make
a lot
it a job
more connected
for yourself before you need to.
Exactly. Yes, that's the perfect way of putting it.
Is there like some kind of special orientation you have to do cut off a piece of your hair, or say the funniest joke you can think of, like to get into the SMP other than sign like 15 million pages of paperwork?
So there is a public humiliation where you get to listen to me talk for at least an hour, and everybody else just kind of congregates to listen in. which is mostly a joke. Okay, it's not humiliating. It's mostly a joke, but also that is kind of how it works. So we hold our orientations in the Discord, and so a lot of people will kind of join in just to get the vibe and get to know the new person. But for the most part, it's me talking a lot. They ask a question here and there, but mainly going over again those policies, regulations, just kind of what we expect. Of course, there's the content expectations, the collaboration expectations. There's the obligatory section of, hey, don't be a jerk. It's basically the short version of, hey, don't steal, don't burn down somebody's house, those fun things.
Yes,
yeah. Be relatively fair kind of thing.
And also just keep it fun.
That too, yeah.
People are going to be less dedicated again, basically, to the whole cause if everything they try and work on the server just gets ripped down.
Of course, yeah. Don't prank anybody if you don't want to be pranked back, kind of stuff. You know,
plus, make sure it's actually like a mutual thing as well. Like they know the prank is coming, in a sense of not to spoil it, but to not exactly be kind of, what's the word that I'm looking for here? To not like just ruin everything. There we go.
Yeah, and we've kind of expanded that lately into a section for people on our Discord to get to know each other, and just kind of, so in general we hang out in voice chats a lot, but we also have the opportunity now to go look through and say, here's a description of a person, here's their boundaries, here's what they're looking for, here's if they like pranks, if they don't, if they record a lot, if they're in Discord a lot, if they're in voice chat in the game a lot, those kinds of things.
Another thing
sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I just said it sounds amazing.
Thank you.
It does sound really cool.
I do my best to make sure sure that we're always growing and evolving. I don't want it to ever be a static thing. I think there's so much to learn in the Minecraft space, and that's what I'm most proud of. If we're going back to proud, that's what I'm most proud of, is Channel 64 in general and how to make a Minecraft SMP. You know, like all of these little details and things that I've learned are what makes Channel 64 special to me, to our members, to anybody watching, that they can see that everybody gets along and see the genuine friendships, and that's what I love about it. And then taking those things that we're learning and having, you know, regular monthly meetings where we talk about them, talk about what else we can work on, talk about how we can improve and how we can continue to be just the best SMP we can be.
As a founder, other than the initiating process and stuff like that, what is your role? And it may sound like a silly question, but like, what do you do? Do you come up with the lore? Do you come up with the antagonist roles? Like, what exactly do you do as the one of the co-founders?
Rule making.
Basically.
Yeah. But I mean, the actual SMP itself, though, do you find the mods? Do you do? Is it all like an SMP team effort?
It is very much a team effort at this point. So I like to say that my role is admin, and that's basically what I do. I do the paperwork behind the scenes. I do meetings. Occasionally I help with social media. I host the Channel 64 chats, different things like that to continue to share that information. But beyond that, so like server information, I don't know anything. I couldn't tell you what version of Minecraft we're on if you ask me too quick. Loki has handled that for 2 seasons now and does an amazing job. If you need any custom assets, we've been messing around with Blockbench and custom items and things like that. Jess helps out with that. We've got different help within the space of social media. Archie lately has been helping me out with some of the admin things, and there's different jobs that we split up all over the place as best we can. And I'm always looking for opportunities for somebody to take ownership of something, because like I said earlier, the more that I split that up, the more time I've got for my own content, the more invested everyone else feels in Channel 64 in general, and the more we can grow as a community. The goal is to grow Channel 64 as a whole, not necessarily our individual channels all the time.
I had a question. Go on. Oh, that's it. Alongside Channel 64 SMP, I mean, do you have anything else to speak about specifically about the SMP? Because I have a few more topics. It kind of links to it, but isn't really the SMP itself, if that makes any sense.
Fair. I think I got all of my big admin points. I think we can keep moving if you want.
People should watch it. That's the biggest admin point.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you have anything else to waffle about that we just haven't asked. The thing is with SMPs, I find it so hard to ask questions. I don't really know too much about SMPs is the issue.
I have a question for you. Am I one of the first founders or SMP managers on the podcast?
Let's have a look. I've had Bumpy Jacon, who has done coding for SMPs. Oh, no,
Okay.
no, that's a lie. I've had Apaguna on, who owns Pal Creations.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, of course.
And I've had Akko on, who has done lots of lore in SMPs. So
Fair.
you're the second. But even then with Apaguna, we didn't really talk too much about Power Creations. We talked a little bit about it, and I asked like very kind of simplistic questions about like the SMPs. But you know, I watched Channel 64 SMP. I've watched a lot of your videos. I've watched your videos in general, anyways, but I've watched some of them also because of research, and it looks really, really fun. I guess actually a question that we haven't really said. I think you mentioned it earlier in the podcast, but we haven't really gone into depth. What is the concept of Channel 64? Like the full-on like lore behind it. Why? Like we've talked about the name, we've talked about that kind of stuff, but like what exactly? I guess what was the original purpose, and has it stayed on that track, or has it become something different? That's a good question, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of liquid. It moves back and forth. So from the start, the idea was we had this grand story, and we had it all scripted out, point A to point Z, and there was so many points. And we quickly learned that was way too in depth. We learned that at the end of the day, people are making their own content, and they've got to build, and they've got to do this, and we had to find a balance, because you don't want to watch just full episodes of lore. That's not something we enjoyed. We didn't enjoy exposition dumps, and that's not what we ever wanted to be. So we wanted to be an SMP where the story was there and you can engage with it as much or as little as you want. We try to lean more towards engagement, but we do have some members that don't engage with it as much, and that's totally fine as well, because their builds and the world itself tells its own story. So at this point, what we are, I would like to think of is an SMP with background lore, or background story.
And
that's a good way.
And it's just a nice little community of friends kind of hoping to do something more. That's really poor. But you get what I mean. Big aspirations. There we go, I reckon.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, like the really flowy answer I could say is we're a community, but I mean, that doesn't tell you anything specific about Channel 64. So yeah, I mean, we're a community and the end goal is to make the world that our members want to interact with.
On Valentine's Day, you posted a image of like a little card that you made yourself. My stream outfit needed a homemade card.
I did.
Thing. How do I get one of those, Ayrington? I want one for the podcast. I want
How
it to
do
be
you
my
get one?
skin barcode for the InsideMC podcast. How do I get one?
You ask very nicely and I'll do it.
Aerington, please. Can I have one? Please.
You got it. I mean, so I can run with that a little bit too, because I think that is, if we want to roll back to Aerington for a second, I think that's what I found that I like the most. I think that's my niche, is the static images, the PNGs, the things that I can go into my photo editing software and make, and then layer them into a way that they show up in my video and move around. For example, like my stream setup and all of my stream stuff, like a lot of that is still images, but they're set with, whether they're scrolling or they've got transitions to pop up and sound effects. With my last episode, I did a bit where it's very JRPG of talking with another character and the character pops up on screen and it's just a still image with a white outline, and then the character moves a little bit, and there's sound effects, there's things that pop up. Another section has a JRPG kind of fishing thing where it's my character standing on a boat with a fishing line out, but off to the side you can see the kind of green bar with the fish and the red bar, and it's trying to catch the fish, and those little bits are what I like the most about making my own content at this point. It's fun and simplicity.
That's nice. That's a nice way of putting it.
No, this is a cute way of putting it.
It's very layered.
It's just fun and simple, because the podcast is pretty simple. It's just, sit down, talk, a really cool animation now that Rory Animates has made for the YouTube, and then just have a fun time. Yes. Like I said, this is more of a chill podcast as well, which is really nice, because it's fun just hearing you talk away. It's because we haven't really asked too many questions, because it's just been nice hearing you kind of talk about it passionate, no?
If there's one thing I've got, it's passion and words.
And you deserve it. So there you go. You deserve the passion, if you must.
Thank you.
I do just want to say something off topic here quickly. It's gone into half time and Manchester United are drawing 0-0 with Nottingham Forest. For very off context, it's so unrelated to the podcast, but this is staying in. AJX is a Nottingham Forest fan, and I guess I am a United fan. I go to West Ham games, but I am a United fan. And they're playing right now as you're recording the podcast.
Fake fan.
No, I'm not a fake fan. I just live local to West Ham. Anyways, we're not getting into this because it's the Aerington Podcast.
Yeah, by the way, all these jokes about me not turning up to the podcast, I could have gone to this match and I refused so I could be on the podcast.
True.
I mean, or you could be watching the game off to the side. How rude.
Which are you? Be honest, AJS. Are you watching off to the side?
Oh, 100%.
I'm looking at the notifications on my phone right now because I'm not spending £70 a month for Sky Sports or whatever it is. So.
It's on BBC iPlayer.
Oh well, it's fine. Anyways, Aerington.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add about Channel 64 SMP, or should we move on to some other topics?
Honestly, we should probably just move on because it'll make its way back to Channel 64 anyways, whether we like it or not.
That's the way to be.
Right away, coming back into Channel 64 SMP. You guys signed up to MCC Rising 2 together, so
we did.
My favorite.
All right,
AJX
so
is a big MCC fan, in case you didn't know already.
I didn't. I mean, of course I knew. I did my research too.
Content creator for MCC, but yes, yeah.
You're the same thing at the end of the day. You're a content creator, but you're also a big fan. You can be
true. Yeah. My bad.
Of course.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. But what's it called? Oh god, you signed up. Binish told me the story. It was essentially. Oh, I have to hit my mic. It was essentially an announcement in the Discord, I believe. I think there's like 2 or 3 of you, and then somebody couldn't make it. I remember like Binish's story was they said, I want to join. They'd freshly joined Channel 64 SMP, and it worked out. Your application video was definitely one of my favorites. It was so cool the way I was edited. It was literally an advert. Oh, not an advert. It was like an intro. It was like an intro to a TV show, which is what you were going for as far as I'm aware. So, you know, well done. You did it. But yeah, how I want to hear your POV. What was your whole kind of view on that? Like, what's your perspective? There we go.
So I will say you got the superior perspective out of Binish. In my perspective, we were coming up on season 3. As far as admin, there was so much to do, and I knew very little of MCC. I hate to say this live on a podcast, but I was kind of hoping we wouldn't get it because I didn't think it at the time.
Oh, well, that's never good, is it?
So yeah, I didn't know a whole lot of MCC. I'm very much not in the competitive Minecraft space. I know what I'm good at, and what I'm good at is SMP content, and that's why I try to stick to my lane. But at the same time, I'm always down to support anything that our creators want to do, anything that's going to get the Channel 64 name out there. So I thought, what's the harm? You know, we're gonna make an awesome video, and by we I mean Ben and Peep.
Yeah.
I contributed where I could, and the next thing you know, yeah, like Ben said, sleeper application snuck in there, and it was a very cool experience. At the end of the day, that's what I've got to say about it. It was an awesome experience. It didn't make a huge difference as far as numbers. And I'm okay with that. I think I mentioned earlier that I'd rather have viewers and subscribers that watch and like what I do rather than to get blown up over something that, you know, competitive Minecraft is not my niche. If you found me from MCC Rising, there's chances that I'm not going to do any more competitive things that you're going to like. Now, I understand that that's not always the case. There's somebody that speaks very highly of me and found me through MCC Rising, but...
Who was that?
It's you.
Oh, it's me!
I can't believe you missed that.
That was a low ball.
No, that was a joke. It was a joke of like who.
Okay, sure.
Right.
Through MCC Rising, but I did find you more through CubeCon, to be fair. It was just more a case of like, oh, Eric CubeCon, I recognize you from MCC Rising too. And then I remember posting, I think I posted the picture, like a selfie on thing of me standing in front of the booth. It was really cool, actually.
That's fair. Okay, so in that case, it goes back to yeah, both. But no, it was awesome. Like at the end of the day, it is like hallowed ground. You know, it's something that is a really cool part of my experience, and I will definitely always think very highly of the opportunity. I'll be the first to tell you, I placed, I think, 38th, like right next to the end.
I can tell you from my nerdy brain, you were 37th.
37th. Oh,
yeah, bit better.
Nailed it.
Team in 9th.
Awesome.
Not last in any sense. There we go. Look at that. Team in 9th, you in 37th. We ball.
Perfect. I'm gonna go apply for some more competitive stuff now.
As you should.
But no, I had a great time. We met some awesome people. We got to speak one-on-one with Cub Fan. That was wild. And just in general, like be in the same Minecraft world as, oh, I shouldn't have set myself up like this. Now I'm gonna fail. Martin, in the Little Wood. I remember we walked past in the Little Wood. There's plenty of others that the rest would remember more than me, and had more time to practice. I got a few streams in, but let's be honest, I could have practiced all week nonstop, and I wasn't gonna get much better.
That's how I feel. Don't worry. Whenever I'm in an event, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something they say in their orientation is, hey, you're gonna do how you're gonna do. Have fun with it. Make content, and at the end of the day, like that's what I was there for, is to be entertaining and make content. So if anything, I hope that the stream and whoever has caught up and watched that stream enjoyed it, and that I wasn't too bummed, even though I was losing, that I was still having a good time.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, you went into it and like you knew from going into it there was a lot of better teams, which is like it's fine to say that. Like it's not in a negative way. It's more so like, so you didn't go into it with the mentality of like, I want to win, I'm going to be sad if I don't win. You went into it like, there are better teams. I mean, you were a content team. You are a content team. I mean, Channel 64 SMP is literally content. It's role playing. It's making content. You had a team of Channel 64 SMP, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. We had a team.
I heard that's a lie. I was about to say, what do you mean that's a lie?
No, I agree. Our goal was to make content. We went on there. We made content. Something I've been doing lately is, I mean, obviously lately, as in yesterday, because I was rewatching all my stuff, which is another thing I do quite frequently. But I was rewatching shorts and like stream shorts, which are such a like. I need to do more of those because there's such a snippet. Like I'm never gonna have time to rewatch all of my past streams, but rewatching those snippets of the highlights, the best moments, and some of those were MCC Rising, some of those were just live streams in general, and it's really cool to see those moments. And I use a face cam, so I get to see like my reactions and everything. I love it. Great.
And I mean, with like MCC Rising as well, it's like when you talked about like the connections and stuff like that. I remember making a tweet at the time, like I've really it wasn't the way I worded it, but I guess I can say it now. It's been so long, it shouldn't really have an impact. I didn't want people who got in just for this, like, to get in for the sake of like growing, in a sense of, sorry, okay, I've just worded that really poorly. No, I did want people who got in to grow. I didn't want people to get in who only wanted to get in for the sake of growing. There we go, wording. And because like I remember making a tweet saying something along the lines of like, you know, if you only want to get into MCC Rising for the sake of it, like having an impact on your content, then that's not why you should be applying. And proof in it is it didn't. I mean, MCC Rising, the first one, I think had a massive impact on people. MCC Rising 2, it felt like it didn't. It was more connections and more meeting new people, which I would have loved. I would have loved the opportunity, and you loved it. Anyone who did get in and loved it, you know. I mean, can you fact check me here, AJX, because you know a bit more than I.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like MCC Rising 2 sort of had this very feel-good factor compared to the last one.
It had a community feeling.
I felt it was a lot more people were excited over it. I feel a lot more people cared about it. I feel it actually put a lot of energy into MCC that was sort of not there beforehand. So I think that was a big thing about MCC Rising 2. I think where the first one was in the middle of its like big amazing period, whereas the second one, you know, I feel definitely revitalized the community around it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, there's always going to be like some level of, you know, I wanted this team or this person, or I watched this application and it was so good. Why didn't they get in? And, you know, that's always going to be there. But I will say that was the most refreshing part of the whole experience is there was no one mad that we were there. We got a lot of positive feedback from across the community, which was fantastic because, again, we didn't win. We weren't going to win, but we made content and we were smaller creators. And there was such a level of support of, well, that's what we want out of MCC Rising is we want people that are growing, that are making content. I would argue, you know, consistent, that have some level of consistency behind them to warrant them being there. And I think that's what we had. And it was really cool to see the support from the community.
You deserved it, and you do deserve it.
Yes.
Well, like thank you. But it's a positive thing to be said about the community in general, at least at the level that we're at right now. We've had a lot of support within the small SMP community, whether it's Channel 64 related or individual channels. I know just recently we got a shout out from Logical Geek Boy for Channel 64, and that was awesome. And the reason it was there and the reason it happened is not just because, you know, all of us piled on the tweet and we're like, check out Channel 64, but because on top of that, so did other SMPs, and all of the small SMPs were like, hey, check us out, but also check out Channel 64, check out Unorthoblocks, check out Autocraft, check out Lotus. There's so many fantastic small SMPs right now that it feels like in a league of their own until we break through right now. And I'm so excited for that to happen. I think we're all getting close, but
I mean, you're on the
either
InsideMC
way,
Podcast, so I mean,
that's true.
One of the biggest
already broken through.
Exactly. I mean, I announced last year the InsideMC SMP. That's for context. That's not happening. It was just a bait tweet. I wanted interactions and it worked.
How rude.
Let me see how many. So it was tweeted on. I can just search it here. 1 second. It was tweeted on the 17th of December, 2023. It got 58 likes and 36 replies, and there was a picture of like thing, and it said, "I want to start an SMP called InsideMC SMP, which is just a normal survival world where everyone role plays as if they're recording a podcast." Who's down? And so many people replied, "Oh, I want to be in. That's really funny. Is it going to be on Bedrock Editions?" I was like, "Oh
Brilliant.
my god! Like, you should know by now that I am just interact bait. I am not doing an SMP."
I have learned that over time. The Josh Hutcherson tweet was the one that got me. That's where I was like, all right, you're full of it.
I mean, the thing is though, like, I make it very clear when I'm trolling. For instance, like the Opera GX admin, a few people didn't believe that, and I have a feeling a few people probably aren't going to believe next week's guest either. Not to like big up somebody else on your podcast. I'm just saying for the sake of it. I'll tell you who after the podcast is anyway, so you can get an early leak. I mean, for people listening to this, it would have been announced 2 days ago, so it doesn't really affect you, but I'm telling Ayrington because anyways, point is, the Josh Hutchinson one, I made the picture, I got the picture to be made for the entire screen, but for like legit guests, it has the format. So it should have been known that when I made it with that specific picture and the entire image, people should have known it was bait. That was the idea. People didn't not know it was bait. I
was going to say, they should have, but I've learned that subtlety is not the way to tell a story.
That's very
you gotta be real forward. And that's why we're getting to this level of simplicity with our story, because the more like upfront and forward it is, the better it's conveyed for sure.
23rd of November 2023. It literally said, one day you never know. I, Captain AJX, and I will be joined with Josh Hutchinson to talk about his iconic role in the hit movie Five Nights at Freddy's. Got any questions for Josh? Reply below, as I'm genuinely curious as to what you would ask him. It wasn't even a proper, it didn't even have the guest in it.
No. I think it was amazing.
We got 61 likes and 16 replies, by the way.
Hey, look, it's all about getting them likes on Twitter.
You know what, Ayrington? How about
that
this?
engagement?
Think of somebody funny to like thing, and I'll tweet it on. Actually, no, I won't tweet it on Sunday. Oh no, I was gonna say we could do a funny one, but I actually do have a legit guest being announced, so it wouldn't make any sense. Then it might ruin it. Never mind. Okay,
We'll do it in the future.
You can DM me a funny guest announcement, and we won't say it on the podcast, and we can do it in the future. There we go.
No, you keep your dishonest humor to yourself. Thank you very much.
Well,
My favorite one. My favourite one he ever did was sauce ketchup, as in sauce,
Brilliant.
as in what the sauce is.
Yeah,
I mean, see, you say this, you say these ridiculous things, but you just had Opera GX on here, so
True.
which is weirder?
I thought you didn't like that one, AJ. So I thought you said that like your one was better, where it said like.
No, I didn't like when you did SAUCE.
Yeah.
I preferred when you put SOURSE.
Ace
So
of
sorry,
Battlefield
CE.
has been cast as AJX, a co-host for the InsideMC Podcast and a live-action Minecraft movie. Sauce Ketchup. 44 likes, 5 replies.
Ridiculous.
That was a good one. So there's one big final question I was looking to ask, because you've sort of hinted at it already, and me and Orbitzz are very much in the community. You sort of talked about potentially being in more Minecraft events in the future. Is that something you'd like to do?
That's very fair. If it was something interesting, yeah. I mean, basically, yeah. I'll take any opportunity right now to just kind of get the Channel 64 name out there and just have fun. I had a good time. If whoever was inviting me was fully aware that, hey, I'm not going to be your best player, but I'll have a good time and try to make the best content I can out of it.
As a terrible player, don't worry, I understand.
Yeah, it's not my primary function, and I'm never going to be the min-maxer trying to get the best times ever, but I had a great time. I'd definitely be down to do it again.
MCC Rising 3, here we go.
MCC Rising 3, the comeback.
Return of only 20 teams has signed a chance of getting in, and they have to be duplicate teams. Only 50 people.
Oh, that would be cool.
That'd be a fun.
I'd love to have the chance to do Sands of Time again. Like really go back and watch everything we did.
You had such a difficult Sands of Time as well.
I hope so. I think so. I feel like we did decent, and
everyone
still
did a really bad job in Sands of Time.
Yeah, they said it was the most difficult one they've ever had. So the fact, if you did decently, then that was pretty good.
The most frustrating part is to have solved the puzzle and then found the red tunnel. Like I had the red key, I found the red tunnel, and that's exactly when Loki was like, "You got to get back. We're gonna." Like, the true dad Loki came out because he was upset. Like I watched back the short the other day, and it's so apparent. He was like, "No, you got to get back now." And he was right. I mean, we definitely wouldn't have made. I think we got third in that one. We wouldn't have done that if Loki hadn't brought us back.
Yeah. I think that's definitely. I think it was. Yeah, they said it was the shortest one they ever had.
And which makes sense. I guess there's a bunch of
Scotland.
people who aren't ready to experience it because it looks so easy, but then when you're actually in it, it's like, oh crap.
Well, no, it's because the generation was it's automatically generated. The generation was just scuffed, so it just meant it was harder for all the teams.
Just gone lucky.
Honestly,
Which they really didn't want to do to people that have never played the event before.
see, that's something I don't know or didn't know, not being in the scene. And like,
I didn't know that.
I'll say, like, having been there and done it, my first reaction was like, okay, cool. So they let a bunch of new people in and made it as difficult as possible.
No, yeah, it was ultimate. They definitely did not want it because they said it afterwards. Yeah, that was not what we were trying to do.
Oh, that's a bummer. It was fun either way, though. I'd love to do Sands of Time again any day. I'm an adventurer at heart.
If it's ever on MCC Island, that would be cool, but I doubt it will be.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, yes.
I think we've covered everything on this podcast. Would you say, Ayrington?
I think I've rambled about everything I can think to ramble about. I'm sure later I will be super bummed that I missed something obvious, but I think I got all the main points out there.
I think you've done a great job.
Well,
It's been very fun.
thank you for being such a wonderful guest.
Aw. Maybe you should keep Ajax. He's a sweetheart.
I am going to keep it.
I am.
He's a good
All
Ayrington,
right.
like a sweetheart. All right.
It does take me it does take me a lot of time and work and effort to admin for Channel 64, so I guess I'll let him keep it.
Thank you.
That sadly brings the end of Midweek MC. It's been great.
Sounds like it's a funeral.
Fantastic.
Before I do the outro here, Ayrington, we always like to give the opportunity for you to promote yourself, promote Channel 64 SMP, anything you like. The floor's completely yours. Where can we find you? Where can we find the SMP? Anything you'd like to promote here.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, obviously, I care more about Channel 64 SMP than I care about my own channel.
Same with me.
If it makes it, I've won. You know, I'm happy. And if it makes it, I'm on it, so I should get something out of it. So Channel 64 SMP, that's on YouTube, X. That was painful. X, Instagram. There is a link tree, all of that. And then my name is Aerington. I make content on YouTube and pretty much exclusively YouTube. I've got some things here and there on X and Instagram, but everything that I'm most proud of is on YouTube.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you for coming on.
And that's spelled AIR. No, I'm kidding.
It'll be in the title. If you want to find Ayrington, their very complicated spelled name will be in the title of this podcast, so you'll be able to find it. There we go. AERINGTON.
Well, yeah. Thank you for having me back on Orbitz. You know, you didn't get rid of me in the end.
Of course not. Why would I? Too good to too good to let go. There we go. And thank you, Ayrington. This has been Midweek MC. Thank you all for watching. Stay safe. Don't eat too much bread. Peaces.
Bye.